Well, good morning, everyone. As I mentioned moments ago, I want to thank you for joining me on the topic of suggestions and tips for the international student visa process. My name is William Priante, and I have the privilege of serving Johnson and Wales University as the Director of International Student Recruitment. And what I'm going to do is concentrate the majority of my presentation this morning on that topic, but then perhaps two-thirds or 75% of the way through, I'll transition and give you a little bit of detail about my university, Johnson and Wales University, and why it might be a good fit for you. You have a lot of different choices out there, and you simply need to find, I say simply, it's not as easy as it sounds, but you need to find the fit that is best for you. What is the best fit for you for your future goals, dreams, educational aspirations, etc. So let me start by doing a quick PowerPoint presentation, and if all goes well, okay, here we go. This is what we thought was going to happen. We're going to be able to give you some helpful information about the student visa process. So if someone wouldn't mind, let me do this real quick. I'm going to make a quick chat here to see if, there we go. Let me do this. And could someone put in the chat box if you are able to see, or you can speak up if you don't mind, if you can see my screen? I'm going to assume we can. Okay, great. Thank you very much. So as I said, suggestions and tips to consider for the F1 student visa process for coming to the United States. So my name, again, is William Priante. I also graduated from Johnson and Wales University back in 1988 and 1990. And I had such a phenomenal experience as a student that I decided to stay. And I've had several different opportunities professionally within the university. And maybe later on, as we get to the different majors, I'll let you guess to see if you can figure out what I studied way back then, all those years ago at J&W. So first, student visa. The F1 visa is what most students will use when coming to the United States. You first apply for an SEVP, which is Student Exchange Visitor Program, approved university or college within the United States. And it's not very difficult to figure out. You don't have to do a lot of research to figure out which schools. The vast majority of colleges and universities in the US are Student Exchange Visitor Program validated or verified. So once you're accepted, most schools will require you to submit your reservation fee before sending you the form I-20. So the I-20 is the document that you need before you can apply for your student visa. With Johnson and Wales University and many others, if you do not get your student visa for whatever reason, we will refund your reservation fee. And that's definitely a question to ask as you're going through the process of applying to the different schools that you're looking at. That's one of the important questions you want to ask. If I submit a reservation fee in order to get my I-20, will I be refunded if I'm unable to get the visa? So the I-20 is a government document, and it proves you are legally eligible to enroll in a program of study in the United States. And it provides supporting information on that document about the student's status. So there will be things like the major that you're going to study, the cost of your education, the time limit on your I-20. So there's some very important information that the government official, the US embassy official, consulate official will look at when you go in for the interview. So after you have your I-20, and a lot of universities right now are sending them via email. So there's not a lot of traditional mailing happening right now. And the government has given permission for colleges and universities to send the I-20 via email. So after you have your I-20, you will register for the Student and Exchange Visitor Information System, which is CVIS. A lot of acronyms, but I hope those will be the last two that I have to use during this presentation. So then you pay your CVIS fee. The CVIS I-901 fee is $350. Once you have your CVIS I-901 fee taken care of, then you apply for your visa interview at the US Embassy or at the consulate in your city or country. Now, some students do have to travel to get to where the embassy is, but again, this is very accessible, easily accessible information. And as you're talking with recruiters from different universities, like myself, and my friend Karen from New England College, you ask these kind of questions, and we can help you find answers as simple as where is the embassy in my country? And again, Google is a great source, and there are many ways you can find this out. So your Form I-20 must be with you when you go to your consular office for your interview. It's very important that you are prepared and you have that with you. There's that first bullet. Be prepared, always. Now, the information I'm sharing with you from here on is helpful for any type of an interview. So perhaps it's an interview for a part-time job. Perhaps it's an interview for a volunteer opportunity. At any rate, being prepared is always a wise decision. And how are you to be prepared? Well, always arrive early. Being on time is late. Being early is on time. So your interview, you're setting an example, you're giving an impression, and you don't necessarily know exactly which office you're supposed to go to or which floor you're supposed to be on. Or maybe there were last minute changes at the consulate or at the embassy. So if you arrive early, you can easily be prepared for a change in location. Maybe it's on a different floor than what was listed on the website, or maybe you will have to go to a different office for some reason, or maybe there are security checks that have to be done. So please arrive early for your interview. Like any interview, dress professionally. You want to dress to impress. And it's very unusual that anyone gets a second chance to make a good first impression. So dressing professionally is important. Now, you're not going to be dressed as if you're going out dancing or you're going out to a party, but you want to be professionally dressed for an interview. And there's some great information on the web. You can type this question into Google. What is the best, what best to wear for an interview? Next, you need to be prepared with all necessary and required documentation. So before you go to your visa interview, make sure you are aware of what documents you need to bring with you. So for example, you want to bring your admissions acceptance letter from your university. Of course, you must bring your I-20. You will need to have your passport with you, etc. So there's a list of things. Again, you'll find it on the US Embassy website of all the different documentation that you'll need. Be sure you have it with you. Be sure that you remember what you've written in all your documentation. So one of the fastest ways to get denied a student visa is to not know what is written on your documentation. Now, I understand that sometimes we get help filling out paperwork. You might have an advisor, you might have a coach or something along those lines, a parent, a guardian might be helping you. Make sure you've reviewed over and over again what is written on your documentation, because it might look like you're trying to avoid the truth if you are saying something different versus what you have written on your paperwork. Maintain good/appropriate eye contact with the interviewer. So again, you would use this advice for any type of interview. You don't want to be looking down at your hands. I know it might not be the most comfortable thing in the world to do, but try to make good eye contact with the interviewer. You can practice at home, you can practice at school. There are a lot of great videos on YouTube, for example, that can help you prepare for any type of an interview. And it's important that you make good eye contact. Speak clearly, slowly, and at a professional speaking pace. You want to moderate your voice so that you're not speaking too loud and you're not speaking too soft. So speaking clearly, slowly, and at a professional speaking pace, very important. Give honest, genuine answers. What is in your heart? And this will be very important when you're dealing with a consulate official who's done thousands and thousands of interviews. They can figure out pretty quickly when you're just kind of speaking off the cuff or you're not being genuine and honest. So do yourself the favor, start from the very beginning, just being very honest and genuine in what you answer. Know why you want to study at your chosen school. So make sure you've done the research. I fully understand, as do consular officers, we understand you're applying to more than one school. That's perfectly acceptable. However, if you're going to your visa interview for a specific institution, so you're bringing your I-20 from Johnson & Wales University, you need to make sure that you're talking about Johnson & Wales University. Make sure you know a little bit of history, background. Why did you choose your specific major? So not only why did you choose that university, but why did you choose that specific major at university? Know why you want to study in the United States. You have many options. You might study in Australia, you might study in England, you might study in Asia. Why do you want to study in the United States? Know your goals. What do you want to do when you return home? It is very easy to not be successful with a visa interview by saying something along the lines of your dream of working and living in the United States. Yes, that might happen later on down the road, but that is not the visa that you are going to the United States on for education. The F1 visa is very, very specific. You are going to study your specific major at this specific university, and you will plan to come home upon completion of perhaps your degree or perhaps optional practical training, OPT, which is a privilege of the F1 student visa. So if you are there on an F1 visa, you are agreeing, as you sign that documentation, you are agreeing to the privileges of that visa, that you will return home upon graduation or upon completion of optional practical training, OPT. Very, very important. Know how you will pay for your university fees. So some people feel that paying the first term fees or paying your reservation fee will help with the visa interview because it shows a serious commitment. I would suggest that you find out about refunds. As I mentioned earlier, Johnson & Wales University will refund anything that you've paid, your reservation fee. If you've paid your first semester, you will be refunded from Johnson & Wales University if you are not successful in obtaining your student visa. This is something you need to research for every school that you're applying to. but more importantly, the school that you're going to the visa interview about, because we're going to assume, the government is going to assume, the school is going to assume that if you're going to the visa interview with X university in hand, that is where you intend to go. So very important to know how you will pay your university fees and know details about your financial sponsor. I know I have children. I have a 24-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old son. And I know that it's not always comfortable to talk about financial conversations in the home. It's just, in some cultures, it's not very common. However, for the purposes of the student visa, the F1 student visa interview, it is very important that you know the details about how are you paying for school. Is it from savings that your family has saved, your parents? Are you getting help from another family member or a friend? Again, it's not the most comfortable conversation. However, it is very important that that consular official knows that you know how you're going to pay for your education. They want to be sure you can afford to stay in America while you're going to school and afford everything from housing to meals to tuition and fees. Next, and again, this holds true for any types of interviews, whether they're your F1 student visa interview or whether it's for a job opportunity or an interview looking to do volunteer work. Be confident in yourself and be confident in your answers. Be genuine, be optimistic, and be yourself. So very important tips and suggestions that I suggest you think about when going for your visa interview. And as I said prior to turning on the record for this presentation, this video will be available with your educator if you'd like to review it. I'm going to show you a couple of video links that will also help you to learn more about the visa interview process. So as we know, YouTube can be a great asset, a great resource for doing research, excuse me. So YouTube has some excellent videos, and I highly recommend working with the Education USA team. Many, many countries have an Education USA office. Education USA is part of the US government. They're typically, not always, but they're typically located at the embassy, at the US embassy in a particular country. They have men and women there that are specifically hired to help students from the country that they're in to come to the United States for education. And they provide free services, everything from helping you with your application to helping you with mock or practice interviews. And they can help guide you with preparing for that all-important student visa interview. So these are 3 very good videos that I've looked at recently to make sure, number 1, that they're up to date, number 2, that they're informative and interesting, and number 3, that they're still there on YouTube. So these are current videos. They might have been produced in 2019 and 2018 and 2020, but they are still up to date and carry legitimate, authentic information. So again, I'm going to leave this up here if you want to take a quick snapshot with your phone, but I'm also going to have it available on the AEO website and also with the educators that are participating. So now I'm going to transition just for about 5-10 minutes or so to Johnson & Wales University. So you're welcome to participate for as long as you'd like. I welcome questions that you might have about the visa interview process or about Johnson & Wales University. But for the next 5 or 6 minutes, I'm going to talk about JWU, Johnson & Wales University, my alma mater. So we were founded in 1914 by 2 women, Gertrude Johnson and Mary Wales. Part of our history that we're extremely proud of. These women were very entrepreneurial. They were told back in 19 1915, 1914, 1913. They were told that they could be a school teacher, they could be a nurse, they could be a stay-at-home mom, or they didn't have a lot of options, and they didn't like that. Gertrude Johnson and Mary Wales felt that every person, man, woman, no matter what race or what nationality, should have the opportunity to do whatever they want to do. And these two women decided to start Johnson and Wales. Back then it was Johnson and Wales College, but Johnson and Wales University. Again, very entrepreneurial, strong women who started our university. So Johnson and Wales is located in Providence, Rhode Island, which is 1 hour from Boston Logan Airport. And we're also located in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is about 15 minutes from the Charlotte Douglas International Airport. So we are one university with two locations, and we are a private, not-for-profit university, private, non-profit university. So this shows you on the map of the United States where Providence is. Providence is 1 hour south of Boston, Massachusetts, and we're 3 hours north of New York City. Charlotte is on the western part of the state of North Carolina, so not quite on the coast, but a few hundred miles west within the state of North Carolina. So our application is free. Even when I was a student at Johnson and Wales University, we didn't have to pay for an application. So the application has always been free, https://apply.jw.edu, but we also accept the Common App. We offer scholarships. We have undergraduate scholarships that range from $6,000 a year up to $21,000 per year. So each year, whatever scholarship you earned during the application process, you get that scholarship every year for up to 4 years. And it's the same exact application for admissions as it is for scholarships. So you don't have to fill out 2 different applications. It's one application for both. And it's mostly based on grade point average. The GPA determines whether a student is accepted and what level of scholarship they have earned. And quite simply, we believe that 4 years of high school education, or I should say 3 years, because most students that are in high school will start the application process in the fall of their senior year. So they only have really 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade to submit, and we can make an admissions decision based on those transcripts, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. But the grade point average and the types of classes that you took really is what determines the admissions acceptance and the scholarship level that you might earn. I'm going to jump down to the very bottom bullet and say that SATs, essays, and letters of recommendation are welcomed, but they are optional. So as I said, the grade point average and the type of classes that you take are really what's most important for our university. I mentioned already that scholarships automatically renew each year for up to 4 years of undergraduate study. And for students that have attended another college or university, perhaps they're transferring after a year, they might be transferring after 2 years, they have the same exact scholarship regimen, the same exact scholarship amounts as if they were coming directly from high school. And we can give college credit. So if you took Math 101 at your first college and you earned a C or better, you don't have to take that class again. And that's the same with most colleges and universities in the United States. For the most part, if you earned a C or better and it's the same class or very, very similar, you typically would not have to retake that course. For Johnson and Wales, we look for English proficiency scores of 105 Duolingo for undergrad, 110 for graduate students. So Johnson and Wales offers bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and we have a doctoral program for doctorate degrees. So for undergrad, we're looking for a 105 under Duolingo and a 110 for graduate students. For TOEFL, the internet-based TOEFL, we're looking for a 75 for undergrad and an 80 for graduate. And then for the IELTS, we look for a 6.0 for undergrad and a 6.5 for grad. Or students can enroll in the Johnson & Wales University English as a Second Language program, ELCA, English Language and Culture Academy. So for years and years, we've had our own ESL program. In fact, we're the only college in the state of Rhode Island that offers English as a second language. And those colleges, other colleges in Rhode Island, send their students to Johnson & Wales to first take English as a second language. And then once they've successfully completed, then they move on to their college or university of choice. All students can live on campus if they wish. So if they're here just for ESL, English as a second language, if they're here for graduate school or a traditional bachelor's degree, we have excellent on-campus housing available for all students. So our university is made up of 6 different colleges. And I won't go into all of the majors in the interest of time, but we have the College of Arts and Sciences, things like biology, things like political science. We have the College of Business, majors like marketing, advertising and communications, economics. We have the College of Food, Innovation and Technology. We really are the school in the United States, and I might say in the world, with the most experience and the most success and the best program within the food and culinary and baking and pastry space. So the College of Food, Innovation and Technology, everything from culinary arts to baking and pastry arts, dietetics and applied nutrition, etc. The College of Engineering and Design has majors like robotics engineering, electronics engineering, design majors, etc. The College of Health and Wellness, we have health science, we have programs like physician assistant. We have physician assistants program. However, that is a Master of Science degree under the College of Health and Wellness. And then we have the College of Hospitality Management, everything from sports, entertainment, and event management, hospitality administration, hotel, restaurant, travel, tourism, majors like that. So Johnson & Wales has a great reputation with industry. So all of the different majors that we offer, the intent is to prepare our students to be ready for the real world. When they graduate, where will they go? And we have some amazing men and women that are responsible for our career services department. And they help students with part-time job opportunities, full-time job opportunities, optional practical training for international students. And these are just a few of the many, hundreds and hundreds of different companies that we welcome to campus each and every year. So a very quick video, this is 30 seconds, and I want to express that if you would like to stick around, I have just one more slide after this, but I want to tell you that my friend Audrey Bridges is going to be doing a presentation on living your best college life, and she represents Oklahoma State University. So I understand if you want to look at that presentation, you can do so now, or you can hang out with me and ask any questions that you might have. Again, this is a 30-second video, a quick glimpse at Johnson & Wales University, and then I'll open it up to questions.
You're live. Branding.
Good.
There we go, 30 seconds of Johnson & Wales University. And then if you'd like to take a virtual tour, just like most colleges and universities, especially in the days of COVID-19, but we've always had, since the technology was available to us, a wonderful virtual tour that I encourage you to check out. You can take a walk through our residence halls, our dining facilities, our classroom space, our outdoor space, etc. And again, just that reminder that it doesn't cost anything to apply to Johnson & Wales University. It's apply.jwu.edu. And here is my contact information. If you want to connect with me on WhatsApp or on WeChat, it's the same number. I should have written WeChat next to WhatsApp, but my email address is william.priante@admissions.jwu.edu. And you can certainly connect with me through traditional email, or you can connect with me through WhatsApp or WeChat. And that, my friends, is the Johnson & Wales University / suggestions and tips for getting your student visa. So I'd like to open the floor if anyone has any questions, and don't be bashful. I'm going to stop the recording at this point because I find that people are more apt to ask questions if they're not being recorded. So I'm going to hit the stop button here, and I'm going to say thank you to all of you for participating in this presentation, and I wish you great success in your academic endeavors.